video, I'm going to show you how to create a teacher file for the first time, and then also how to add students and classes to that teacher file. So to get started, we have to open up the teacher tools. There's a handful of different ways to get there, but the way I like to do it is down here at the system tray, because even if Notebook's not open, I can get to my teacher file. So I go to my system tray, and there's my response icon. It's a little orange one there with the clicker in it. I'm going to go ahead and click, and I'm going to click on teacher tools. So that goes ahead and launches, but I already have a gradebook, so we're going to ignore that for a second. I'm going to create a new file. And this is what would happen. This is what it looks like, and this is what it would look like the first time you ever open it. So I'm going to go ahead and come in here and name all this. Now, it does ask for the first name. You don't have to worry about that. Your first name doesn't show up. It goes by the title, so Mr. or Mrs., and then grabs the last name. And then we could add the school and district. We don't have to. They're not required, but you can put them in there. So we'll just say test school, and this is test district. And I'm going to hit save. And that's going to ask me where I want to save this. Now, this is pretty important because this teacher file, you want it wherever you go. I mean, if you're never moving computers, then you can save it wherever. But if you go on, if you're a traveling teacher and don't use the same computer over and over again, you want to make sure you know where this is saved. A backup does save to the computer, but like I said, you want to know where this saves, and it saves out as your name as .teacher. So I'm just going to save mine here to the desktop. I'll go ahead and hit save. And there we go. So what I want to do now is I'm going to add my first class. So I'm going to go ahead and add a class. And class name is required, so this is unique. So maybe math first period. Okay. Now, one thing to keep in mind is your classes, think of the teacher file as your grade book. So this is your whole day. So each class is each part of the day. Depending on how you want to run your reports later on, things of that nature, I highly suggest creating a class, even if you have the same kids all day long, that you create a class for math and science and so forth. So first period, that is required for class name. Period, you don't have to put that in there, but I'll put that in there. And location, maybe we're 1. Now, passing grade, this is a required field, but what this is a graphical representation. So what happens is in your grade book is any grade that's above the passing is in black. Any grade below passing is in red. So this is strictly visual for you. So you set that threshold. Maybe you want anything below a B to show up in red. Like I said, it's visual in your nature. So I'm going to leave that alone. Hit add. And now I have my class. But now I have my class, and I need students. So I'm going to come up here and click on students. And I can go ahead and enter them in. So we got to keep unique names. So I got to give a student ID number, so that's got to be unique. So let's just say that's student number 1. And this is for when the students log in, so you know who they are. And first name we'll say is Eric. Last name we'll say is Smith. Okay, email address I wouldn't worry about too much. And then we have this tagging box over here, which it's covered in another video. And we can continue on and keep adding students by hand. Another option that we could do for students is, I'm going to go back here to students, and I can import students to your class. So if I click on that, it's going to ask what student or what class. So if I had multiple classes, it's going to have them all listed here. So I pick first period and I click next. It's going to say, how do I want to import? Microsoft Excel, very common. You might already have that done. CSV file. This is a very common file, especially if you're grabbing information from like a student information system like a PowerSchool or Skyward or things of that nature. In this case, I'm going to go with Microsoft Excel. Okay, just plain old Excel file. But before I do that, I actually got to save my Excel file. So I'm going to open up Excel here, and you'll see I already have a class list set up. I just wanted to show you the setup here. What you want to do is your first column, so your row 1 needs to have these headings. So you can do first name, last name, ID number. If you put those 3 just as is, everything will work out, and then you just fill out the information you have here. So first name, last name, ID number. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And I'm going to do a save as. I'm going to save it as an Excel 97 2003 file. So what this does, this gives me an extension of a .xls. You need to make sure it's an XLS file, not an XLSX file, which is the newest version of Excel files. So I'm going to do a 97 2003 file. You notice here Excel 97 2003. It could have changed it. So, and I'm going to call this period 1. And I'm going to hit save. I'm going to make sure it's out of my desktop, desktop so it's easy to find for me, and hit save. Okay, so now here's another key thing. The Excel file must be closed for the import to work. If it's open, the import doesn't work. So I'm going to close. Okay, so I got my Excel file. I'm going to click next. It's going to say, where's that Excel file? So I'm going to go find it. Grab the Excel file. It's going to be importing. And there you go. There's all my new people. Now, here's the thing. You can do the import after you've already added students. It doesn't overwrite what's already in there, so you can have it all in there. So those are my students. Now, if I go to create a new class, so let's say this is period 2 reading. Actually, let's keep the naming convention the same here. Reading period 2. There's 2, 101. Whoop. And hit add. Now I can go through the same process again by adding students through the Excel document, through a CSV, or just by typing them in. But let's say you have the same students in multiple classes. One nice thing is right here with student ID. Now, obviously, if you have everything in an Excel document, just keep importing. That's the quickest thing. But if I come here to student ID number and I just type in a student ID number that was in my other class, it autofills. So that's real nice. So if you have student ID numbers, you can just hit student ID numbers and they'll transfer in, especially if you only have 1 or 2 kids multiple times in a day. So that is how you add students and create your class for the first time. Thank you.